thank you so much for joining us for volume 3 of Journeys to Success. My name is Sim. I'm the content manager. Could you start off by introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about your journey and your career pathway so far?
Yeah, of course. So really nice to be with you guys here. Well, telling a little bit about myself, it's not easy because I have a very complex journey. So I graduated in international relations. So it's a different background because well, I didn't know what I wanted to do by that time. Like every I would say little girl that enters to university. Then I had a master in economics, and I started my career on financial industry, which was very I would say it was my very first time learning on the job what to do. So it was very interesting because I was a trainee, so I got a lot of training session, which gave me a little bit more solid information on how to do stuff, and of course more information for me to decide what to do with my career. Since then, I left this company. I started to have an own business by 2011. It was very, very challenging because by that time, startups here in Brazil, it was like crazy. Everybody was talking about that, and it was very sexy to be an entrepreneur. So that's why I joined a couple of guys to start a business. As everybody knows, and as it comes here in Brazil, I was the only girl at that crew. So 9 boys and 1 girl, 26 years starting my own business. It was very, very challenging. Of course, that I had a pretty great journey because I learned by the very beginning, and how can I say, on the job, and doing a lot of stuff how to lead a business. For me, it was great because I had an opportunity to leave this company by 2014. We sold this company. Actually, I sold my part at the very top high evaluation of this company. So it was good for me. I left this company. I didn't know what to do by that time. I was trying to have my own business again. By that time, I was planning to have something for myself because it was a little bit hard to share this business, different view, different people. Well, I was thinking to have my own business by that time. That was the time I received an invitation to join Sephora here in Brazil. I didn't want to, but the girl that was the CEO of the company by that time is a fantastic woman. It's not a girl, it's a woman, but it's fantastic one. And she convinced me to join the company. Simone, you can go, you can came, stay like a year, help me, and then you go back to the market and you can put together something for you. Um, I was, wow, at that time I thought, wow, could be great. It's an international company, so why not? I joined the company, and that was the point. I decided to never leave cosmetics and digital marketing because I really found myself on that market. I love it to work not only building a business inside a company, but building something in digital and in beauty market, that I found myself in the middle of something that I love it to do. So that was the starting point of Simone as a girl from beauty and digital marketing. I stayed there for 6 years, and then I decided to leave, of course, to put together my business. By that time, I was pregnant. Uh, very biggie, and I received it. I decided to invest my own capital on beauty companies, small ones, and I received an invitation to join another company for a special mission. They were challenge. They had a challenge to be more tech, to digitalize the company, and they were intending to sell the company. And they invited me, Simone, you can join, stay for a while, so let's sell this company, and then you get back to your business. I told them, okay, for me, we can do that. But I would say that I will keep investing on the small companies, and in 2 years from now on, I'll be back to this market. And they said, no problem. So we have a deal. And I did that for 2 years. Very successful, because we had a chance to transform the company. We sold the company to other biggest company here in Brazil. And then was the time at the end for me to get back to my dreams and start to not only to invest in companies, which I have has been doing in the last years, but to start my own business. So that's why I had an idea for BelongBe, and well, that was a tipping point, because it was different time of my career, so much more solid background. Uh, I would say an old and more experienced a woman or girl. I don't know. Yeah, I do consider myself a girl yet, but that was the moment we decided to have this business. So I started to build in and telling about BelongBe. It's a marketplace dedicated to indie brands. So that was a trend that I watched when I was in Sephora. By the time I was in Sephora, I saw something very interesting happening in the US market, which was the emergence of indie brands. So by the time I joined the company in 2014, 3% of revenue sales was part of indie brands. By the time I left the company in 2019, it was like 30. So it's crazy how this percentage from 3 to 30 grew up through a couple of years. So that's why I saw this movement in US, and I told myself this will happen in Brazil. So that's why I decided to put together BelongBe, which is a company dedicated to indie brands. So I saw that was a challenge in Brazil. So indie brands, they know how to operate with media and market. It's crazy how they do that, because it's pretty much founders that have a lot of reach. I mean, in media, followers and things like that. But they needed help on hard skills side. So to how can I say, to manage the business, to do logistics and all the hard stuff that we don't like to do. It's not sexy, but they needed help. So that's why I founded this company, which we call the powerhouse of indie brands, only dedicated to indie brands, and not only to help them to grow up the business, but also how to introduce them to a beauty market, which is pretty crazy in Brazil. We are the fourth biggest market of beauty in the world. However, 95% of this market is led by big companies. So it's not easy to enter into this market. So that's why we decided to have a business dedicated to that. We do believe that together, the small ones become greater, become big, and well, it's much easier to join the market. Well, I trying to get in a lot of words, because it's not summarize it, but it was my
No,
journey.
that was
Sorry.
perfect. No, please don't apologize. Honestly, that was phenomenal. Your journey has been so interesting. And like even myself as an individual, I absolutely adore like the world of beauty. So
Oh yeah,
skincare and beauty products. And when I was looking at BelongBe's website, I was like, oh, I like that item. I like that. So it's
yeah.
de it's definitely something that's popular. And it's great that you're supporting businesses with that sort of digitalization, because so many businesses now, they're not even necessarily opening a brick and mortar store, like a physical shop that you go into. People are just doing business online and they're shipping internationally. And it's a huge market to be a part of, not only the world of beauty, but the side of e-commerce where it's all online. So I think that's an incredible way that you've brought together the things you love and that you're passionate about. It's amazing.
Yeah, actually, it's the first time that I can say that I'm working on my dreams. I'm doing a business that, of course, it's about to make money. It's not, an NGO or something like that. But it's a different way to make business. When we decided to support the small ones, what was in 2020, because before launching this business, we spent like a year helping those brands to put stuff together, because they were so small. So when you ask it for something like, I need SKUs, I need steel assets or something like that, they didn't have. So that's why we started to work by 2020, in the middle of pandemic season, I would say. We started to help them to organize them, to be ready to go to the market in a more, I would say, organized way. Because, for example, logistic, it was crazy too. Girls use it to say, I sell, it's amazing, but wow, I hate to go to post office to post stuff. And I said, yeah, I know it's not sexy. So that's why. So it was very interesting to put those stuff together. And one, in additional to that, by the end of last year, my partner, she invited me. She started to look into metaverse and NFT and those stuff, and as she knows, I love a challenge. We were very great by that time with BelongBe, and she said, Simone, we know we like business, we like beauty, but have you heard about metaverse and those stuff? And I said, crypto? Is that crypto? And she said, yeah, yeah. And I said, wow, I heard about, but I know nothing. I would say as an investor or more deeply. And that's why she told me, yeah, I know that you don't, because me neither. And there's no woman in this market. Let me tell you something. Um, Girls, I would say that women are responsible for more than 50% of production in Brazil. I mean, money. So we make more, we make more than a half of all money that it's circulating in Brazil. But when you look into financial industry, we are 23% only, and in crypto and NFT only 4%. So that's why she challenged me. I'm putting something together. I'm thinking about create a decentralized organization community to put to educate women and to help them to engage into this market. So, would you like to join me? And I said, yes, of course I would. So that's why I joined EVE. So pretty crazy, but that
Yeah,
was.
that's really interesting, especially because it's something that's so different to what you already do. But like you said, you like
Yeah.
to challenge yourself, and I think that's amazing. So, I mean, obviously you've touched on what EVE NFT is, but could you tell us what it is that inspired you to offer this support to women, and what tools are you offering girls and women who are joining your organization, that you've gathered through your own experience, because you've worked in so many different fields and industries? So what is it that you're offering support with?
Yeah, actually, the very the idea behind Eve, it was to create something new, created by women. So we were the first organization in Brazil, founded by 10 experienced women. We put together a lot of people. I mean, girls from a financial industry, tech, marketing, and the very idea, the idea behind it was to create something to put those women together in order to engage other women. It's very tough to see that we are still fighting for space in the market. I don't know in London, but I don't know in UK, but here in Brazil, we do have a lot of women in the market. However, when we look into the highest positions, it's not a high percentage. So, and basically because we, as a woman, we do not feel that we are ready enough. We are always trying to be better than we are. Sometimes we have no confidence on what we do. So that's why we decided to change this scenario for financial and tech revolution. So the revolution will be in place. So metaverse is something that will happen. So why we will keep waiting for the revolution to become, the market to be in place for us to fight for a place. So that was the idea. Let's start this evolution by the very beginning. So it's time to put women together, to learn together, to engage other women, to be a safe space, because sometimes you don't wanna put your weakness in front of a lot of people, you know. When you say crypto, I know nothing about that, and everybody in the room looks at your face and say, whoa, you don't know that. So it's hard. So that's why we created this. It's a safe space to learn together, to engage those women, and of course that we generate business, because it's a lot of women together pushing up other ones. So if I decided, for example, to have something in my company that I need a company, I do prioritize, I do prefer to have a company founded by a girl or a woman. I do prefer to fulfill this community. So that's why we created. And EVE was founded in three main pillars. The first one is education, of course, because you cannot enter into a market not knowing how to operate on them. So that's why education is the first pillar. Then is the give back. So how to give back to the society what we are having in this opportunity, I would say. And third pillar is, of course, financial stuff. So when you enter into this revolution, and especially when we are talking about NFT, which is a kind of investment, I would say, because it's the, how can I explain that? It's the kind of property, digital properties. You can have NFTs for a lot of stuff, including music, properties, art, and all the stuff like that. So that's why we have a third pillar telling that it's a financial aspect of that. So that what is EVE is based on. And since we found a company, which was by the end of last year, but we started to operate this year, I would say by March, we have been training a lot of girls. So it was more than 5,000 women impacted by EVE. And not only on training sessions, but feeling safe to be in some environments that it's especially historically occupied by men. For example, we do have a company, an investing company, very big in Brazil, XP Investment. I don't know, I don't know if you know, but it's the biggest one, and they do in Brazil the biggest fair for investment stuff, and 80% of people that used to go to this event, it was, men. So by this year, we changed that. So we put a lot of girls there, and more than that, it's not only to invite girls there and feel awkward in the middle of a lot of men telling stuff. It's much more about go there and feel safe, feel included, and part of that. So that's why we know that it has been impacting our society, putting those women together, reinforcing the importance that they have, and of course training, because we do not believe in liberty or in freedom of this woman without education. So that's why it's the very first pillar, most important one, I would say. I give
Yeah,
you a lot.
amazing. No, that's really interesting to hear about. And I mean, like what you're doing with EVE NFT is a much larger scale of the purpose of these interviews that we're doing now, like with Journey to Success. It's about sharing that knowledge of people who've had a really successful pathway so that other people can learn and have that insight as well. I think that's such an important element to our society these days. But if we could go back to BelongBe, the amazing
Uh,
brand that you have, I wanted to ask, it's such a fantastic e-commerce like opportunity and investment that you have, offering skincare and beauty products. So what issues did you have to overcome, particularly at the start, in terms of purchasing behavior with your customers, because it's an
wow.
online business?
I would say that the most challenging stuff for us, it was to put a lot of brands together in an organized way, because you have to break barriers and tell those girls you don't have to have your distribution center or your office. Let's put everything together in São Paulo, which is most the biggest city here in Brazil, and then we can operate together. So it's much better, because you can, when you are DNVB, you have to repass to your customers cost of rate and logistic stuff in Brazil that is so high. So when you put those stuff together, you can have better prices, you can have more, I would say, interesting conditions to offer to your customer. It's always good to remember that in Brazil, well, we are a big country, so sometimes to send merchandising here for north of the country, you're gonna pay more and shipping costs than you're gonna pay in the merchandise itself. So that's why it was interesting to share the distribution center and to share those abilities to organize and manage the business together. So I would say that the first challenge, it was to put everybody together. The second challenge, it was, despite the fact that we are a very big market of beauty, and to have 95% of market in leading or occupied by big brands. So those small brands together are less than 5% of the market. They consider themselves as a competitor. So they used to say, "Oh, I will not sell with with the other girls, because well, we compete with each other." And the hard stuff, it was to explain that yes, you can both sell lipstick. However, look at the market. You both together are less than 5%. Really? Do you think that you are competing with that girl? We have 95% of market to occupy. So a lot of big brands to transform those customers into your customers. So the challenge was to teach them to not consider them as competitor, and to put in place the idea of working together in order to be more, I would say, strong to be in that market. So let's fight to occupy the biggest brand's place and not our colleagues' place, So that was a very challenge. I would say that both of them, it was the very hard stuff that we have to overcome to have a successful business. Organize stuff and teaching them how to work together in order to be strong to face this market. So of course that we have a lot of other stuff, but I would say that those two challenges, it was the challenging one.
Yeah.
It's
Actually really interesting how you were saying that the first main challenge was bringing each of those organizations, those indie brands together from one distribution center, because that would also impact the way that people are purchasing. Because like you said, Brazil's such a big country that if people wanted to buy from two of the different indie brands, but all of the merchandise isn't in one place, it would be so much harder and products would have to be more expensive. And so there's a massive chain to that. So I can understand why that must have been such a difficult obstacle to overcome. But now that you managed to, of course, overcome that, how important and how much of an impact do you think the checkout process makes and impacts a buyer's decision? So someone who wants to buy from BelongBe, how much of a difference do you think it makes to have a simple checkout process?
Wow, it's the most important. I would say every step in the journey are important, of course, because I would say that you have some steps to have a deal in your hands. So first, it was to be attractive, to have, flow traffic to your website. Then you have once you got the traffic, you have the challenge to offer something amazing. I mean, the product, and I would say that the combination of price, product, promo. So the entire package is very important to have conversion. Once you overcome those challenges to attract somebody, to convert that person into the offer that you have in your website, I mean, the checkout process, it's the most important one to have a deal. So you cannot make a mistake there, because you did the most, I would say the hard, the most challenging parts. I say to my team here, people, you convinced someone to come here to buy something, and then you put in a checkout and you do not simplified stuff. So you did the hardest part, and then the easiest one you are not doing correctly. So it's so important to have a clear process, a easy one. In Brazil, we do not follow a lot of steps, so it's much important. It's so important to have small steps, and to be quick, to be easy. Once you are trying to purchase something, and you have to give a lot of information, you're gonna drop this purchase. In Brazil, it's more than the checkout process. It's very important. The cost of shipping, the shipping costs are very important, because they will make, of course, the consumer to follow or not that purchase. But the checkout process is something that I say it's the easiest part and the most important one, because you did the hard job. And then if you do not offer something simple, you're gonna lose this deal. So that's why we are looking into this step. I would say every hour, every day, keeping an eye on KPIs. I mean, the conversion, the fire checkout conversion rate, it's so important. So, wow, it's what I say. It's the combination of all the steps that make you have a good deal. However, is the discipline, I would say, and looking into details, and all those hard stuff to be easy, that will make a successful purchase and then a successful business. So I don't know if I answered your question. We are so concerned about the entire flow, but wow, checkout is something that we cannot make a mistake on there, because no, you did
No,
the
absolutely. I think you summarized it really well. And I mean, that's one of the things that Unlimit helps with. So I completely understand what you're saying. You don't want to go through that process of someone adding all these amazing products to their basket and then the checkout process is so long, or there's not the right payment method for them that's available, and they're just like, well, I'll just close that then. No point buying it. So yeah, you summarized it really well. So how you were saying just now actually about there are so many elements that you think about, it's not just like a checkout process, and the fact that you have different businesses and business roles. How do you cope with stress and juggling each of these different elements?
Well, I do not believe that you can segregate, I mean, personal life from professional life, because for me it's pretty much together. Um, it's my life. I do give an importance to my career, um, that it's more than the average, I would say. So it's something that I do believe is important for me, to combine those stuff. So currently I have two main roles professionally, saying, which is being in charge of BelongBe, which I have to be there working every day, inspire the team and checking process, doing stuff we have to do, uh, to have a successful company, especially because it's a company that we founded a year ago. So we are in the process to be, uh, in the right place with the right products and on all those stuff. And the second role I have professionally saying is to be part of EVE, which I don't have to be working every day. Is much more about to join, to be part of that, to inspire other people. And it's for me it's like a give back, part of my life, because you know you don't have the hardest stuff, but you have a chance to change, the environment that you are living. So that's how I see the both roles I have professionally, saying again, combining those roles with my life. Well, it's hard to say, because sometimes you are like working, by late hours, usually hours that you used to dedicate it to your family. I have two kids, so I have one girl from 2 years and a half, and I just got another girl, so 27 days ago. Yeah, I have a baby. Yeah, I just had a baby. By the time we were talking, I was, wow, preparing myself to go to the hospital to deliver this baby. Yeah, you were talking, you were looking. Yeah, so I just had this little girl. So I used to combine professional life with my, uh, I would say, particular life, by inserting those into my life in the easiest way I can. For example, I need to get out of the meetings early to have time to see my babies to go to the bed. However, by the time they go to the bed, I can get back to the work and work more 2 hours. So the flexibility that we have currently, despite the fact of pandemic changed the entire scenario, so it's much easier to work from home. Absolutely, something that I was not considering before 2020. Actually, I spent 5 days out of my home, and now I spend like 3 4 days at home. So this changed, and the flexibility of my work make my life easier to combine a lot of roles. And there's something that I think it's amazing, when you work from home. You don't have to spend time on traffic, which in Brazil it's a lot of gain of time, because I use it to spend like 2 hours per day in traffic. So by when I'm working from home, I have like 2 hours additional, So that's why I think it's feasible to have uh, a lot of roles, and to can and to operate on them together with personal life. I think that's the way we manage both stuff: working from home, flexibility, a good team together, and well, trying to combine stuff. I used to put my girls, I don't isolate them of what I do. I used to say to my girls, mommy needs to work to pay stuff. And she said, mommy, you are going to work. There's something that I think it's great. It happened just 2 weeks ago. I said to my little one, "Oh, you cannot go to your friend's house because her mommy needs to work." And she said to me, "Why? Uh, Invite her mommy to do her calls from our place." So it was crazy because she already knows that work is to do calls and you can do from your home. And she was suggesting me to invite the mommy to join me at home to do the calls here so they can play together. And I was, oh my God, how crazy is that? Because 5 years ago it wasn't possible to say that, and now my little one, 2 years, suggesting me to invite other ones to work from home. It was crazy, but that's something I think illustrated better how you can combine both stuff, and you can use your dedication to work to teach our kids that it's not something that we do because we don't like them. It's something that we do because we like them, and we want to build stuff together, and they are part of that. So that's why.
Yeah, that's really lovely. I mean, congratulations on your second baby as well. That's amazing. And you're back to work already. It's crazy. But I mean, it's lovely. I think a lot of people would say things like, oh, I like to meditate. That helps me relax and cope. But you gave a very real example, which is working from home helps you a lot because you can
Yeah.
juggle time with your daughters and you can do your job. And like you said, it's flexible. So I think that's really lovely. And like you said, after the pandemic, most of us would never have thought, oh, yeah, maybe I'll get a job where I can work from home. And now people are like, I don't want to go back to an office.
Yeah. It's interesting because you mentioned meditation. I've never did that before. Never. I don't have patience to do that. I say that taking care of my kids are my meditation, because I need to focus on that, to play with my oldest one, and to feed my little one. So that's my meditation, because you have to deliver yourself, to dedicate yourself to those girls. That's the way I think clearly, and I relax myself with my two little ones.
That's lovely. That's really, really sweet. So for other men and women, boys and girls who would like to become entrepreneurs, what advice would you offer if they're at the start of their journey?
Well, it's hard because I do believe that you have to know that to build up something is not easy. It's not about to have successful in a short term way, in a short term. Sometimes you have to put something together and change a lot of times to be in the shape that will make you have success with your business. So I would say that there's a lot of stuff to say to those people, but I would say that you have to have a very clear idea of what you want to do, but you have to be okay on changing that idea, because sometimes sometimes I would say always, you have to change stuff to have to adapt to the environment that you are playing, and to not be attached to the very beginning, in to not be attached to the starting idea, is what make you ready to change stuff, and to be successful on what you do. So sometimes I see here in Brazil a lot of entrepreneurs doing stuff, and they do not allow themselves to change. So that was the idea. That's what I think should work. And then you started to push something that's that that's not the very best idea for that market. So you have to be resilient. I would say resilience, I think, is the very capability that changes stuff for entrepreneurs. So besides of having a great idea, you have to be resilient to change. You have to be disciplined to put stuff together every day. You won't have a success in the few days. So you have to be consistent on putting stuff, on doing the same stuff every day, and wait to have a good result of that. Not afraid of change, of course. Not afraid of lose stuff. Um, well, and enjoy the journey, because we are always focused on the final result. And sometimes the journey is where you become more solid, you learn about. And sometimes the journey is what make you learn more. And sometimes it's not the business that you started, but what you learned from that, and you can create something else. So, well, it's a lot of stuff to say, but I would say that be strong, resilient, not afraid of change, not afraid of challenge, not waiting quick response, because there's no magic. I would say, I used to say to my team, that's not a very great idea that becomes a great business, but a great execution. And execution is that, to do the stuff, to get back, to change, to accept change, well, to evolve from the errors that you have. I think is that. I don't know if I answered your question, because I'm a little bit
Yeah.
confused.
No, not at all. You answered it very well. Thank you for sharing that advice. I think you covered quite a lot, and a lot of that is very helpful. So my final question for you is, how do you define success?
Well, happiness. Um, by the very beginning of my career, I defined success as the point that I would be that girl. I mean, the woman on top, making a lot of money every year, having a great car, a great big house, those stuff. And now I know that success is to be happy on what you do. So I decided to not be a great executive of big companies. I decided to be CEO of a small company, but my company, I decided to invest on stuff that I believe. I could be in a big bank, I could be in a big company making a lot of money. I prefer to make less money, but to help other people to make their business. So that's why. That's what made me happy, and that's what I define as success. To be in a place that you can choose what to do. How do you do those stuff? Well, for me, it's success. I don't know if my company will be a great one. We are still challenging ourselves to do better stuff. But when I look into my journey and every day and everything that I learn from my team or I have an opportunity to teach them, that is success. The journey and the option to do what I would love to do in the segment that I love. Well, that's successful for me.
That's beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So yeah, that pretty much summarizes our time together, and it's been so interesting, and I'm so thankful for you joining us as a guest on our Journey to Success series. So thank you for coming and sharing your story with us.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
And you, I'll speak to you soon, darling. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.